Well, thank you all so very much. Thanks for the warm welcome. Thank you for the kind words. And thanks most of all to all of you for being here with us. In fact, let me say up front how heartening it is to see so many friends and colleagues here, especially my classmates from the great West Point class of 1974. And my partners and colleagues from KKR. Most notably, that includes our co-founder and the man now known as the gentleman at the gate, Henry Kravis and his wife, Marie-Josée. I take that term from a recent Forbes magazine cover story on Henry and our other co-founder and co-chairman and co-CEO George Roberts that recognizes that KKR is no longer barbarians at the gate. Thanks to all of you again, not just for being with us this evening, but supporting a truly wonderful organization. I'm pretty sure that by the end of the evening, if not already, you'll see why my wife Holly and I are such passionate supporters of the Children of Fallen Patriots and the wonderful work that it does. Thanks so much, Tim and Nancy, not only for the recognition here tonight, but also for your very generous words of introduction and your very kind memories of our serving together at various places. You know the old saying about such a nice introduction that you wish your parents could have been here, that my mother, who is no longer with us, would have believed every single kind word you said, even as my crusty Dutch sea captain father might have been a tad skeptical and just commented, as he frequently did when I was growing up, "Results, boy." But even my father could not have argued with the extraordinary results that David and Cynthia Kim and the great CFP team have achieved in this labor of love that you started well over a decade ago with the simple but powerful motto, "College for their children." Ever since then, you have provided the vision, the inspiration, and the leadership that have propelled the Children of Fallen Patriots. And Holly and I have watched in admiration as you have done so. So we should be clear this evening that our gathering is not about me receiving an award. Rather, it is about support of the very special organization that David and Cynthia have built, one that helps Americans discharge a sacred obligation, ensuring that the children of those who have lost their lives while serving in uniform, whether in combat, accident, or illness, get the college education they need to succeed in life, even though their service member, mother or father, is no longer there to support that education. In providing this helping hand to families of the fallen, we lift an enormous burden from them and ease their worries about the future when they most need reassurance. Even more, we demonstrate very tangibly that we have not forgotten their fallen patriot, their fallen parent. To the contrary, we show that we honor the willingness of their parent to step up and serve our country no matter what the risks. And for those parents who gave what Abraham Lincoln termed the last full measure of devotion, it is our duty to take up the torch and ensure that their children are able to succeed in college as our fallen patriots would have wanted their children to do. Very few individuals were as privileged as I was to serve with hundreds of thousands of our men and women in uniform in Iraq and Afghanistan and the greater Middle East. You should know that our soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Coast Guardsmen have been truly magnificent, demonstrating extraordinary initiative, determination, innovativeness, and courage in battling tough enemies in the most difficult weather and terrain imaginable. Tragically, not all of them made it back alive. Indeed, we sustained particularly tough casualties during the first year that I commanded the surge in Iraq, and we had a lot of tough days in Afghanistan when I was privileged to be the commander there as well. Command Sergeant Major Marvin Hill, my great senior enlisted advisor for 4 of my 5 combat commands, and I went to a lot of memorial services. And I want you to know that it never gets easier. You never get hardened to reports of losses or seriously wounded troopers. Even at senior levels, you still personally know many of those who lose their lives, and you feel personally responsible for all of them. One of those I will always remember is Staff Sergeant Paul Johnson, Ranger Johnson. He was my driver and personal security officer when I was a one-star general for a year with the great 82nd Airborne Division, and then deployed with me to Bosnia for another year. At his request, Sergeant Jay went from Bosnia directly to Afghanistan, where he earned a Bronze Star Medal for Valor on the battlefield with the great 82nd Airborne Division. And by the way, I might note that the former commander of that, Eric Kurilla, who has been downrange virtually as much as anyone I can think of, is here with us tonight, the Chief of Staff of U.S. Central Command, and understandably, he has to get right back to CENTCOM after this evening. Shortly after returning, from Afghanistan, Sergeant Johnson deployed again, this time to Iraq. He could have skipped that deployment, as he just returned from Afghanistan, but he was not about to let his unit go to combat without him. Tragically, Sergeant Jay was killed in Iraq in the summer of 2003 when a roadside bomb blew up his Humvee while he was on a patrol with the 82nd Airborne near Fallujah. I was by then commanding the 101st Airborne Division in Mosul, northern Iraq, and I was notified almost immediately by his unit, whose commander knew of my relationship with Sergeant Jay. I knew that Sergeant Jay had left behind a young wife and a very young son, and I was worried about them. Sergeant Johnson's son, Brian, was the apple of his father's eye and had been on ice skates practically as soon as he learned how to walk, with his father, an avid hockey player, as his personal coach. And now he was gone. Holly went to his funeral at Fort Bragg, one of many that she attended that year. And we stayed in close touch with Sergeant Jay's widow in the years that followed. We knew of Children of Fallen Patriots because Holly was on the Fallen Patriots board, and as you heard, still is. And with her help, Brian was enrolled in the Fallen Patriots database so that when he's ready to start college, Children of Fallen Patriots will be there to support him. The assurance provided by Fallen Patriots helped give Staff Sergeant Johnson's wife and his mother considerable peace of mind after they lost Sergeant Jay, who was just 29 years old when he was killed serving our country. There are, of course, many, many stories like that one, too many in truth, and we've heard several others here this evening. Each is unique and each concerns a tragic loss, terrible grief, and then considerable worry. Needless to say, we can never bring back those who have died while serving our country, nor can we assuage the grief that follows such a terrible loss. But we can provide reassurance, financial support, comfort, and appreciation for those families that have lost a loved one while in uniform. I should add that as the children of the fallen grow up and as the years pass, many of them begin to wonder if anyone remembers or cares what happened to their parent. Fallen Patriots, with your support, provides them part of the answer to that difficult question when they're ready to go to college. Yes, someone cares. Yes, someone remembers. Yes, someone honors their parent. And yes, someone is there for them. That emotional support is just as important as, if not more important than, the financial support that Fallen Patriots provides, though the financial support is a truly significant and tangible manifestation of our care for them. It is, after all, our remembrance of the sacrifice they endured, our honoring of their parent, and our support for them. Given how special this organization it is a true privilege to be recognized by it this evening. But as with any recognition, I am keenly aware that I receive it first and foremost because of those with whom I was privileged to serve while in uniform, especially those with whom I was privileged to serve in Iraq, Afghanistan, and the greater Middle East and Central Asia. Any award I receive, therefore, I accept for them and with their sacrifices and mine. And also, this evening, on behalf of Holly as well, for it was through her as a member of the board, now for well over a decade, that I became acquainted with this great charity. Moreover, it has been together that we have sought to support this wonderful organization and its sacred mission. What David and Cynthia Kim and the Fallen Patriots board and team have built, with your support and that of other wonderful, generous Americans like you, is a truly extraordinary organization, one with the most admirable and noble purpose imaginable. In performing its very important mission, Fallen Patriots both lifts from families of the fallen an enormous worry and demonstrates in a hugely significant way that their fellow Americans recognize and deeply appreciate the sacrifices they have endured. I believe that we do have a moral obligation to help the families of our fallen. Given that, it has been a true privilege to help Fallen Patriots meet that obligation. And given that, it is with enormous appreciation that I thank each of you this evening again, not just for being here, but for your support of an extraordinary cause. So thank you again very much, Tim and Nancy, David and Cynthia, for an honor that I will always cherish from an organization that I will always admire and always help. May God bless those on the front lines of freedom around the world tonight and their families, as well as our Fallen Patriots' children and their families. And may God bless each of you and David and Cynthia Kim for all that you and they have done to meet a sacred obligation that we all have to the children of our fallen patriots. Thank you very much.